Hey guys, welcome back for another Full Joy Mom video. In today's video, I am going to help you to learn from my mistakes. In my house, we love to say, you win or you learn. No losing in this house. We're always learning from our mistakes. So stay tuned for today's video as I talk about my top 3 homeschooling mistakes.
You're watching Full Joy Mom.
Well, if you are new here, hi, my name is Dawn Marie, and I am the thankful, happy, blessed, fortunate mom of 4 little kids. They are 7, 6, 4, and 3. We are going into my 5th year of homeschooling. I myself was homeschooled, so I'm a second-generation homeschooler, and I am super thankful to Ashley from Joyful Noise Learning. Thank you so much for inviting me for this collab video. You know, it's so great to learn from other moms, and there's so many different kinds of moms in the world, right? Some moms are the adventurous kind, and some moms are like, we want to just read a million books kind, and there's so many different types of moms, and there's so many different types of homeschool moms. So it's really great to learn from people who are similar in your style and who are different in your style of homeschooling. So today I've collaborated with a bunch of moms. Everything's in a playlist. So if you haven't checked out the other videos yet, definitely check out that playlist. After this, go check out Ashley, give her some thumbs up, some love, subscribe to her channel. Tons of good homeschooling resources. Maybe you're in that phase where you're just like, I need to know everything there is to know about homeschooling. Go check out her channel. And so actually, my first mistake is kind of funny, given that this is a collaboration. It's a really great thing for you to hear up front, because my number one mistake that I made was comparing my homeschooling experience with other moms' experiences. Now, you can do that in a good way, and you can learn from other moms, and it can be really great to, you know, I remember being at church and asking another mom, like, what do you do with your 3rd child who's not doing any school, and you're trying to get school done with your older 2? How do you handle that? And we're walking from like dropping our kids off back in the like church kids area to the sanctuary, and she probably spit out 10 ideas that were super duper helpful. She told me, you know, put them at the table and let them cut with paper with the scissors, and give them things to trace. Get out a highlighter and let them trace things that you've drawn. And she spit out all these really good ideas. So input from other moms can be very helpful. You just have to make sure that you're not getting caught in the comparison trap, that you're not looking at another mom's social media homeschooling highlights and being like, wow, our homeschooling is boring, or my kid's not reading at this age, or, you know, we're not doing that kind of science. Are we doing enough? That can really, really rob joy. I think it was Theodore Roosevelt, I believe, who said that comparison is the thief of all joy. Homeschooling is such a joy. Yes, it takes hard work. Yes, it takes a lot of getting used to, but homeschooling is a blessing. It's such a blessing to get to be home with our kids and educating them and training them. Don't allow that thief to come in and steal and kill and destroy the joy of homeschooling by comparing yourself to what other moms are doing. You are the mom that your children need. You are their teacher. You have chosen to step out in homeschooling. I believe firmly that God's grace is there to meet you and do that. And I love praying over my kids every day. Something that I took from, you know, this feeling of like comparing and maybe I'm not doing enough and are my kids getting what they're needing? I decided I'm just going to pray over my kids, because I'm not a perfect mom and I'm probably not giving my kids everything they need, but I'm doing the best that I can, and God's grace is sufficient. So in my weak areas of being a homeschool mom, God's grace is there and strong. So I pray over my kids before we start the school day, and I say, thank you, Lord, that they have everything sown into them today in their bodies, minds, and spirits that they need to fulfill the call and plan that you have for their life. Your kids don't need to be good at everything. That's one of the beauties of homeschooling, right? Is that you get to tailor your child's education to what their strengths are. And actually, by focusing on your kids' strengths, did you know scientifically it's been proven that those less dominant areas, I like to call them less dominant, not weaknesses in our house, they are less dominant areas in their life, will actually get better. So what an amazing example to Focus on what you as a mom are doing. Allow other people to encourage you, but don't get caught up in comparing. So mistake number 2 that I made is very interesting because it happened as a result of, I believe, me being a second generation homeschool mom. I was homeschooled myself. I went on to nursing school, and I just always knew I wanted to homeschool my kids. So when I set out to homeschool, there was never a thought in my mind of why was I homeschooling. It actually wasn't until this very year that I was planning and I was filling out a questionnaire, and I realized I don't actually know what my why is. I have never written down the vision for why I homeschool. Why did my husband and I choose to homeschool? Personally, because I was homeschooled, I just always knew that I wanted to homeschool my children, and my husband was on board with that. So I would just really encourage you to sit down and write out your why. That's going to be an answer that's different for everyone. But what I found is that when I sat down and wrote out the why I am homeschooling, the answer to why I'm a homeschool mom, I felt so encouraged. I actually looked back on the last year we did of school, and instead of seeing the spots where maybe I didn't meet our goals or I didn't complete some of the book work I had planned, different areas that felt like a failure, they were totally done away with by this realization that I'm actually fulfilling the why to why I am homeschooling. When I looked at the reasons why we picked to homeschool, I was meeting those reasons. I was doing what it was that I said I wanted to homeschool for. So I would just encourage you to get those, because what can happen, and what I saw that happened, is because I didn't have my why down, I was chasing after all these things that were not actually important. They were other homeschool families' priorities, and they should be important to that family if that's their why, but they weren't important to me and my family. And so, it kind of ties in with that comparison thing. You can be jumping on someone else's train pretty quickly if you're not careful to have your own structure and plan and why you homeschool. So mistake number 3 that I made in my homeschooling life is being too success-driven and fact-oriented. See, something that I've found in my own homeschooling journey is that for me, I want my children to fall in love with learning. I am not here as their homeschool teaching mom to just jam their brains full of facts. I am here to foster a love of learning. I want them to enjoy learning about the world that God has created for them to live in, and I want them to have such a love for learning that it carries them through the rest of their lives. Successful people never stop learning. They're always hungry to learn more and to grow. And so for me, I really wanted to get away from just lots of facts and jamming their head full of information and having all the book work be a priority to just the love of learning. My kids are little. They'll have plenty of years to really figure out how to apply themselves to heavy book work. And we do all the subjects, like we do all the requirements. I live in the state of Pennsylvania, so we are doing lots of book work, but there's just not this overemphasis on it. I'm not constantly like, let's go, we have to meet every deadline and we must do all the book work perfectly. I want them to love learning. When they love learning, the whole world opens up to them. They are curious about everything. We are big outside people. I want my kids to be critical thinkers. I want them to be exactly who God created them to be, and that's not going to come just from jamming their heads full of facts and information. And funny, because it didn't cause my kids to learn any less or any more. I stayed on the same exact education path, but what it caused was more joy to come into our lives and this love of learning to come back, whereas the previous year, when that was not my perspective or my focus, the schoolwork that we did in the same exact amount just felt much, much heavier, because it wasn't about how can we love learning, how can we make this fun, and how can we enjoy the process. It was just like, we must know these facts, because if not, we've failed. Well, now we're just learning the same facts. We're just having a whole lot more fun. So just a little perspective change. You can homeschool your children one step at a time. It might feel like this elephant of a crazy thing, but how do you need an elephant? One bite at a time. I am so thankful you watched this video. I pray that it blessed and encouraged you. And if you are new to my channel, Full Joy Mom, do not forget to subscribe. Check out my other videos, loads of other videos. Typically, I do faith-based videos as well as tips for the mom life. So check out that playlist, see what the amazing other moms are having to say. Make sure you see Ashley's video from Joyful Noise, and then my BFF Sarah's in on this collab. Sarah Rouse from Rolling with the Rouses has an amazing YouTube channel that you should check out as well. She is such a blessing to me. I'm so thankful for her. I hope that you guys have an amazing Full Joy Mom day. I will see you next time.